What is going on, guys? It's your boy Year the Gentleman bringing you another video. Today we're going to touch on a subject that almost everybody is familiar with, and that is their first kiss. So I don't know where you guys had your first kiss, but my first kiss was at camp. So my mom, she tried to get rid of me for the summer, so she sent me away to this camp. So the camp was all the way in the mountains. The camp was called Camp Mariah, and it was for inner city kids. So at camp, they would split us up into different groups or bunks, and each bunk would have about 6 kids. So you have your weirdos, your athletic kids, your normal kids, and your shy kids. And I was in the shy group. So from what I saw, my group was full of, kind of weirdos. I had like probably 2 cool kids, but the rest of them were weirdos. So the first day we were at the table, and we had to get food because we use trays to get the food. So everybody's just sitting there, and the counselor came up. He was like, oh, which one of you guys want to get the food? So everybody looked at each other. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just go get the food. So as soon as I got the tray and I stepped into the room, I seen this beautiful Spanish girl. So when you see a beautiful girl and your chicken nugget turns into an Italian sausage, well, that was dead my situation. Like, I could not stop myself from staring. Like, she was so beautiful. So as I'm getting the food, I'm dead just staring at her. And I didn't even notice I was staring at her that much until I got to the table. So one of my new bunkmates, he was like, yo, bro, you're dead not low. I see you. I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, oh, I seen you staring at her. First thing in my mind, I'm like, yo, first of all, you're really gay, because why are you staring at another boy? But anyway, he was like, I see you staring at her, but I also see her staring back at you and smiling. And I'm like, nah, bro, nah. Can't be. Look at his face, man. Like, I'm a gargoyle. She cannot be looking at me. I'm ugly. But he's like, all right, tell you what I'm going to do. Go back in there, and I'm going to see if she actually stares at you. And I'm like, all right. So I went back in there with the tray to get seconds. So I went up to get seconds, and I actually went and looked at her again. And she kind of stared back at me and smiled, but I wasn't sure again. So when I went back to the table, he was like, yeah, bro, she was smiling. So I'm like, okay, Brandon, all right. I think you might be in there, Brandon. So he was like, bro, why don't you just go up and talk to her? I was like, nah, bro, I don't think I could do it. So he's like, all right. So 3 weeks went by, and I didn't really see her like that. So I was like, what happened to this girl? And I just kept looking. So 3 weeks went by, and we ended up doing arts and crafts and board games, and I actually seen her. So in my mind, I was like really excited, but I ain't sure I had the mean, cool face on. I was like, nah, I was walking around like a cool guy. But then I seen her. So as I was trying to build up confidence, I was like, okay, I might go and talk to her right now. So as I was walking to her, some mega cock blocker gonna come and talk to her. So as I'm like, oh man, this guy really just cock blocked. Like, I was really about to talk to her. So I'm like, oh, my confidence is down. My intuition to talk to her was just gone. So I just went to the other table and put my head down. So as I put my head down, I felt a tap. I'm like, who could be tapping me? Let me die in peace. So as I put my head up, it was her. So I still did not believe it was her. So I put my head down. I just went. So she tapped me again. I looked up. I'm like, nah, I can't be her. I'm like, I must be in the dorm sleeping. Like, this cannot be life. So I'm like, hey? I was like, you got the right person? She's like, yeah, you're Brandon, right? I'm like, yeah. I was like, what's up? She's like, oh, nothing. I wanted to talk to you about something. I was like, about something with me? She was like, yeah. She was like, well, when you're in the getting food, I kind of stare at you. And when you stare back at me, I look away. I'm like, you do? I'm like, nah, can be. I do the same thing. So we're here laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this cannot be life. Like, how can this be happening like this? So at this point, we having a conversation. We getting familiar with each other. So I'm like, all right, Brandon, you totally in there. So now in the back of my mind, I'm like, how am I going to kiss this girl? Because I know like we've established some type of like with each other. So I get back in the cabin and you know, I'm thinking, I'm like, how am I gonna kiss this girl? So as I'm thinking, one of my bunkmates come in and he's like, yo bro, why you look like you thinking so hard? I'm like, oh nah bros. Remember that girl? You know that girl that we did that project with? He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, well I'm trying to kiss her. He's like, that's it bro? He's like, yo, step into my office. So in the back of my head now I'm like, yo, Brandon, if you listen to this guy, you are not gonna kiss this girl because this guy is terrible with girls. Like, he's bad. So he's like, bro, girls love an aggressive guy. So when you get her, grab her and shake her. I'm like, what? Bro, what are you talking about? What kind of friend are you? He's like, bro, what are you talking about? What kind of friend? What do you mean, what kind of friend am I? Like, clearly you want me to get arrested. So I'm like, you know what, bro? Just bye. So at this point, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just have to do this by myself because what this guy is saying is just retarded. So the campfire now, we have a campfire towards the end of the year. Well, not the end of the year, towards the end of camp. So I'm like, all right, I have to do this before camp ends. So I'm just thinking, how am I gonna do this? This campfire is like about a week away. We're almost about to go back home. So I'm like, how am I gonna do this? So before you know it, it was the night of the campfire. And I'm like, wow, camp is really almost over. And I have not kissed this girl. So at the campfire, what we were doing was making s'mores, like every other camp. So we were making s'mores, and she was in the corner by the tree with her friends. So I'm like, all right, Brandon, you just gotta be smooth and go over there and just grab her from her friends. So I walked over there with the little confidence that I had, and I just put my arm around her, and I just took her, and it worked. She got up and she walked with me. So I'm like, all right, Brandon, you got this. So we walked over to the tree, and she was like, Brandon, I got a question to ask you. I'm like, oh, here we go with these questions. So she goes, why did you wait till the last day to try to kiss me? And I was like, you know, cause I'm nervous. Like, you make me nervous. And then she was like, aw. I was like, why are you so nervous around me? I'm like, cause you're just so pretty. So she was like, aw. And she just grabbed me and she kissed me. And then I was like, wow, this is my first kiss. I mean, wasn't the smoothest thing, but it happened. But anyway, guys, subscribe to my videos, leave a like and comment down below, and subscribe again. It really helps me out. And leave me some ideas to make some new videos. Really much appreciated. Thank you.